exhaustion and
Oh,
hover over it, and yeah.
Hello, lovely peoples. We are live and in colour.
Oh god damn, no, it's colour.
Yeah,
Oh
there's
wow,
colour.
colour! I thought we were still in black and white.
No, we're in
here
colour.
you go.
So, ladies and gentlemen, hello, Miss Blue Jay and Miss Mina. Thank you so much for dropping that tier 1 sub right before we got started there. Apparently, D&D Beyond has added something to their overlay. I gotta check this out. Why is Inari's picture not showing?
I don't think Canari's got a picture on D&D Beyond yet.
I'm pretty sure I gave you one. But it shows you as being exhausted, which is actually pretty cool. But I can actually go into D&D Beyond right now and fix that.
Hey Ghost, how's it going?
Oh, Ghost, what's up? Give me 1 second, guys. We're just gonna fix up Inari because she is supposed to have a portrait which I created.
You never sent it to me.
I can do it from my end, so it should do it from my end anyway. Choose file, external, D&D pics. Now I gotta find that, find the face.
Why is that, Ghost?
Tonight sucked so bad. Did you have a bad night at work? Right, so Nari's portrait should be up now, hopefully.
I'll give it a couple of minutes.
It'll take a little bit to come through on the overlay, but it should be there. Yeah, so that's a bit of an update for that. Sorry about the brightness on the cam whenever I go into an internet page, because not everything on the internet has dark mode, which really kind of sucks. Leaving an hour and a half late. Oh, jeez. Now, it's an hour and a half overtime, I guess. But I don't think we have any announcements. Darth Trashman dropping the resub for 9 months. Currently on a 6-month streak. Thank you, Mr. Trashman, for that subscription. Thank you for the continued support.
You're welcome.
Hype, you did check some hype in the chat, guys. Actually, there's something I didn't do. Man, I'm a bit slack tonight. I didn't set up my Stream Elements timers for the chat.
Didn't like to say anything.
Jeez, I don't know. Slack DM, man, I tell you.
Yeah, we'll let you off.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Fire me. That's it. Fired.
Telling me off for not learning my character, yada rah, and look at him.
Shh. So I'm just going to turn off some of these timers because we don't need them tonight. Actually, no, they can all stay on. They can all stay on. Right, so yeah, we don't have any other announcements. The only announcement we have is the YouTube channel. We got videos up late this week, so the VOD and the only clips that we got for the whole stream this week was the D&D Beaver incident. So that is now available on the YouTube, and it is called The Beaver Incident. And it's just that one clip of the entire conversation. So if you did not see last week's episode and you want to catch a really funny moment during the RP, check out the YouTube and check out The Beaver Incident. It was amazing RP and it was so funny. Nutty lost her crap all over the place, and you can hear her through my microphone snorting and giggling so bad. It was really funny. I couldn't control myself. The chat, you guys were losing control as well. It was awesome. Well done to Fiona and Het for keeping fairly well composed through that whole thing. I think they're the only two that didn't break character, which was good. Right, so without any further ado, we are going to recap episode 26 and get into tonight's episode of Paradym Bold and get this underway. So, the Lions of Valonde made camp. You guys travelled for your first day towards the Bastion in search of another potential vampire. And some more precious items to aid in the coming battles ahead. During Het's watch, familiar sounds of darkness he heard coming from the distance, and then proceeded to wake Sadiq for some advice. By this time, obviously, Het's suspicions and now Sadiq's suspicions were founded as a Knoll raiding party ambushed the camp. The group were woken by Sadiq and Het and headed into a bit of a skirmish, a little bit of a battle. The Knolls burst forward from the surrounding bush. You all jumped into the battle, attacking Knolls left and right. Fiala then invoked her ultimate wild shape spell and transformed into a formidable cave bear and started to rampage all around the camp, letting out frightening roars which actually frightened the Knoll leader on more than one occasion. Sadiq's martial skill proved no match for the hungry Knolls, and he quickly cut through most of them in the end. Inari found herself brought to near death, not used to being in melee combat, but Het's quick thinking soon brought her back to her feet with some quick heals. With all the lesser Knolls dead, the leader, once again terrified by the Fiala bear, fled, only to be commanded to lay prone by Het, and in turn finished off by well-placed Inari arrow, ending the combat. You guys then rested and continued your travels to the next evening, where you camped again. Not much really happened during the evening. Het and Fiala discussed many things during their watch, and Fiala then revealed to Het that she was in fact the beaver that had been stalking him. And this is where the beaver incident took place. Again, the rest of the evening went without too much of incident. Fiala and Het planning to possibly prank one or two of the other members with the eating of a beaver, potentially. You then awoke the next morning ready to continue your journey towards the Bastion. And this is where we'd rejoin the Lions as they break camp, and tonight's episode 27, The Bastion's Secret. So team, you are awake. It is another relatively nice morning. Nothing too, like, there's a little bit of cloud. No, it's nothing too sort of drastic. It's not hot. You don't think it's going to be a really hot day, but it's definitely not going to be cold or rainy. There's no real sign of rain at this point. But you wake, you eat, drink, do whatever you need to do, water them, organise your horses. You break camp, you pack your horses, and you are now heading into your third day of travel towards the Bastion of Ehc, which is home of Eric the Awesome, potential vampire foe. Is there anything you guys are wanting to discuss during this first portion of the day's travel?
Nah, I'm good.
It remains pretty quiet.
Did we have horses with us?
You did.
I'm just gonna look at the roof and say,
You are on horses.
I am on a horse. I'm just going to relax on my horse today, guys. I'm still pretty tired.
Yes, and you are still suffering from one level of exhaustion. Just while I remember too, Fiala, can I get you to roll a d4 for me, please?
That is a 1.
So your moon-shaped spell, you will not be able to cast for another 24 hours.
Alrighty.
From the time you cast it, you've got a full 24 hours before you can cast it again. Do something here quickly. Right. So, Inari's sort of... She looks a little worse for the wear. You guys obviously realise that she took some serious damage during the battle in the previous evening or previous day, and you know that she's at some point she's going to need to take a day and just relax and just really recover from that ordeal. But at the moment she's not too bad. She's visibly shaken, but you think she'll be okay at this point.
I'm just meditating on my horse as we go.
I'm gonna ride up next to Sadiq if I can and try to
Okay.
get his attention. Sadiq, can I ask you kind of a personal question?
Yeah.
Shit. Hit the wrong button. Never mind.
Next battle map, okay.
Cool. We're gonna fight when we get to the chat.
Right, there we go. Sorry about that. Slip of the finger. Carry on.
How do orcs kind of show interest in, say, another orc if you wanted to kind of let them know you liked them or wanted to see if they were interested in you? What do you guys do?
So, you want to know how orcs, like, say they like each?
Yeah, kind of get a feel for each other.
Well, normally, the girl will go up to the boy and grab him around the throat and start choking him. And if the boy lets her choke him, it means that he likes her enough that he's willing to be dominated by her, and then it proceeds from.
So you choke out the male then, like completely?
No, you don't choke them out completely. Just try to choke them, and if they let you choke them, that means that they're willing to allow you to be your partner.
Right. Thank you. This helps so much, Sadiq. Yeah, thank you.
Oh my god.
Whew. Anything else that needs to be said before I get you all to make a perception roll for me?
No, I'm good.
I think I'm good.
So
It is also good.
I will get everyone to just roll a general perception check. No passives, just been active.
23.
23 from Inari. Inari, you are also now in a heavily forested area. So this you are really familiar with these types of surroundings. So make sure that when you make survival checks and checks of that nature, intelligence or wisdom checks, that you do so with advantage.
23.
Except for exhaustion.
Except for
Except for my
exhaustion, so it'll be a
exhaustion.
straight roll. Thank you, Hit. Well,
23.
Baz. So yeah, so just straight rolls because your exhaustion gives you disadvantage on ability checks. So it'll be a straight roll. So, Elishotis, what was your roll?
I see the mane of the horse.
Was it that bad? Seriously?
7 was the roll.
Yeah, okay, you're preoccupied. Fiala, what was your roll?
19.
19. Hit, and you...
Hit also got 7.
Inari was 23, and Sadiq,
I am literally taking my passive because I rolled a 9.
no passives, so this is an active roll, so 9.
No, I rolled a 9.
Yeah,
So I
so
got my passive.
you can't take your passive, it's an active roll, like I said. So with generally averages, you're generally all pretty good anyway. It's as you're traveling through, again, as you start getting closer to the Bastion, you're now probably less than a day's travel away from the Bastion grounds, or it's you've been told it's a reasonably large estate. You start to notice as you get closer and closer to where the estate sort of starts, the grass, the trees, all the sort of foliage of the area starts to die off. It's starting now to the grasses, instead of greens and different shades of greens, you're starting to see more shades of brown and patches of dark grey where the earth has completely died out and there's just nothing living in those particular areas. The trees have dropped leaves as you keep going further into the day and getting closer to the bastion. You're seeing a lot more petrified trees, and Sadiq, you would know why. Whether you want to inform the rest of the group of the reason why, that's up to you. But anyone who wants to make a history check to an intelligence check side to see if they know the reason for it, you be my guest, unless Sadiq wants to share.
Would I know why?
Nari, you potentially make an intelligence check for me.
15 for hit.
So for you, Inari, it would be a straight roll because of your disadvantage and the fact you would normally get advantage on that.
Yeah, I got a 9. I have no clue.
Yeah, you've definitely heard of possible reasons, but you're not 100% sure in this case. And what was your roll here?
15.
15. You'd know as well, Hit. So Hit and Sadiq obviously would know this. If you guys want to relay this information, it's up to you. Essentially, with undeath and vampirism and generally fiends and as well, is the area in which especially a vampire, not even just an elder vampire, but a vampire that's been fairly well established and has made their home in a particular area, the area itself also starts to die and is affected by essentially the evil that has taken over the body and just the general land itself is generally tied to
the evil miasma.
Pretty much. So the whole area, usually within about a day's sort of journey of said lair of a particular creature is affected. So, and this is what you're starting to see now. You're starting to see that the area around the bastion has died off. Rivers have started to dry up. Any small lakes or things that would normally be there have all dried up, and the wildlife has diminished. What wildlife there is very emaciated and very sickly, and are slowly starting to die off as well. So by this stage, you guys are probably within probably another half day, six or so hours away from the bastion itself. The day starts to grow darker. The clouds start to roll in a little bit. You now, even with all your passives, you now notice that the birds have stopped chirping. You have everything's become eerily quiet. You've all seen this before, apart from probably Fiala. Fiala's probably the only one that has not experienced this. So Fiala, this is extremely uncomfortable for you to have no sounds of wildlife at all. The rest of you, when you visited the township of Reffield in the north of the Howling Mountains, you experienced the same eerie quiet and stillness that you're experiencing now.
I didn't.
Actually, no. Inari wouldn't have either. No, Inari, you've dealt with vampires before.
Oh, that makes sense.
And Fiala, you have at the castle of Casagnond. Same feeling. That same emptiness, darkness that's sort of rolling in. Even though it should be one sort of 12ish, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and the sun should be high, and it should be a relatively warm mid sort of summer's day. It is quiet. It's deathly quiet and quite not dark, but it's very dingy now. You move ever closer to the bastion. I'll get you all now to make another perception check. This one you can use your passives for if you roll lower than your passive.
15 for Inari.
I'll call. No, sorry, I'll start from the top. Just makes it easier if we can take everyone in order. So, Alessandro, your roll.
24.
Gayla.
16.
Hit.
17.
Inari.
15.
15. Sadiq.
13.
13. So you're all pretty good. And with a couple of high rolls there, you all watch as the road is virtually gone now. Like, you've noticed that the road that you've been traveling this whole time has been very overgrown, and the nature has started to claim back which was probably once a very well traveled road. And now the road's virtually non-existent. You can see patches of where the road may have still existed, but it's now pretty much overgrown with grass, and the trees have sort of, what trees there are now, are completely petrified, and sort of everything's just not looking very nice at all. And in the distance, you see looming before you a large, very large castle-like stately home. It's not like the castle you came across with Cass. It's more of a manor home, but one of those old stonework style manor homes. So it's probably 3 or 4 stories high. You're probably looking from here. It's more of a shadow at this point. You can't really make out too many details, but judging from the size of it, you'd probably imagine it would be 20 to 30 bedrooms, ballroom. Like, it's definitely a nobleman's home. As you creep ever closer, the stillness and the eeriness of the area is even making you feel a little uncomfortable, Sadiq, even though you've dealt with these things before, and you're more aware than probably the others now about potential threats. Every now and again, you glance down at your symbol and just check to see what's happening, to see if any potential threats are presenting themselves. Thus far, nothing has changed with your amulet. Your horses are now becoming a little spooked as well. So can I get everyone to roll an animal handling check for me, please? And Nari, this would be disadvantage for you because of your exhaustion. Alessandro, your roll.
11.
11. You're fine. Your horse is a little skittish, and every now and again sort of almost tries to bolt underneath you, but you manage to sort of just calm your horse enough and rein it in so that it doesn't do anything. Fiala, your roll.
13.
Your horse is the same, a little skittish from time to time. Any slightest sort of noise or movement, which there isn't many things happening, the horse sort of looks like it might try and rear or run off, but you manage to rein it in. Hit, your roll.
14. And I told the horse I would eat it if it tried anything funny.
Yes, Hit. You're the same. Every now and again, you notice the horse's eyes become wide, and it looks like it might become spooked by something. But again, your intimidating presence seems to keep it in check. Inari, your roll.
I fell off.
What was your roll?
5.
5. You don't fall off, but your horse all of a sudden rears violently. Can I get you to make a Dex saving throw for me? This is
With
not
disadvantage?
this is not disadvantage because it's not an ability check. It's a saving throw.
18. Oh, no. 15.
15. So as your horse rears suddenly,
Saving throw. 18.
18, yeah. So as your horse rears suddenly, you just go whoa, and you manage to grip the reins and grip onto the saddle with your thighs and your heels into the stirrups, and it takes you a few minutes, but you do manage to calm the horse to a point where it steadies. But your horse is very, very skitterish now, and you're definitely well aware that that's happening. So you need to just keep an eye on that. And Sadiq, your roll.
17.
17. As an experienced rider, you spent a lot of time riding horses as a young half orc within your orc clan. You managed to just just your calm demeanor and has sort of translated to your steed, and your horse remains relatively calm. So with that, you spend the next 2 or 3 hours steadily making progress towards the Bastion as you get closer and closer to the Bastion. Yes, Alessandros, you wanted to say something?
I'd like to make a suggestion. We get off the horses so we don't fall on our asses.
Suggest that to the party. Don't suggest it to me.
Yeah, they heard me.
No, they didn't. You weren't talking to them. You were talking to me.
Hey, guys, I think we would be best to get off the horses just in case something spooks them really bad.
How far
They're
out
already
are we?
men.
By this point, you estimate you can see the grounds in the house. So you're probably still about a reasonable sort of hour and a half on horseback from the estate. You can sort of estimate about an hour and a half.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. We can tie them up here and then walk it in.
Yes, I also feel sorry for my horse, because I am nearly 400 pounds.
Yeah,
We got you a special horse.
You're on a Clydesdale hit. Your horse is rather large.
We're all on the exact same horse, but the horse type. But Het's one was the biggest one.
That is lucky. I believe I would be the heaviest here.
I would believe that would be true.
He doesn't realise that he's actually riding an ox.
Or is it a badger?
Hey.
Could be a beaver. You never know.
Could be a bear. You know, it's not very good at.
So do we leave food for these horses, I guess?
It's up to you if you want to leave something for them to eat and maybe some water. Your choice. If you make the decision to leave your horses here and tie them up.
And now maybe you should shoot a rabbit or something for them to eat.
Horses tend to eat. Horses are vegetarian here. I'm just thinking might not be a good idea to leave the horses tied because we are going into a place with undead and they might just see them as food.
Hey, Fiela,
Yes.
you're still able to do that portal thingy, aren't you?
Portal thingy?
Through the tree and all that?
Oh, that was Begilia. That wasn't me. I don't think I can do that.
Because if we leave the horses tethered, they could die. If we let them roam, they could just run away. We'd be stuck.
We can just chop their legs off.
Are you hungry yet?
We could lead them on foot. How's that?
I think that might actually be the best thing until we can find somewhere safe to tie.
I know, and now it's just putting it out there if we don't want them to go anywhere. Take away their source of movement.
And Het, how are we going to ride them home if you cut their heads off?
Oh, legs, not heads, but I mean, we all have, there's quite a few of us here with abilities of healing, right?
I don't know if a revivify would work on a horse.
You don't let it die. You just mend its legs back together.
I give Het a really funny look.
It's okay, Hit is just joking.
I smile. Okay.
Plus, Fiona can just turn into a giant horse and we can all just ride her home anyway.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be one
It's
of
all
those
gone
nights
downhill.
again.
So what are we doing, guys?
Sure.
What's the consensus, guys? What are we doing?
Hide the horses. Let's find somewhere to tie the horses that they're hidden.
I do have a spell called Plant Growth I could use to make some grass for them.
Are you able to make a circle of thorns or bushes?
thorny bush? Yes.
Yeah. Way we could put the horses in there. You can do that thorny bush around them and put grass in there. Yeah, that'll work.
Actually, it's only like a square of 20 feet, so I think they'd be in the thorny bush.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they'd die if they're in a thorny bush.
Can you cast it more than once?
It's a first level spell, but yeah.
Oh, you don't want to use your spell slots. I reckon we should just find somewhere to hide them.
Sounds like the best plan.
All right, who's going to helm the investigation to find a suitable place to hide the horses?
I would, but I'm so tired.
I will.
I can do it too if you want.
So, who wants to helm the roll? And if you want to aid, someone wants to aid whoever's going to roll it, you get it at advantage.
I'll do the roll.
So roll at advantage. So 2d20s take the highest, and just a straight investigation.
I got a 20 on the roll.
Natural 20.
Yep.
Nat 20, guys. So what's your total investigation?
It comes to 20. Yeah, investigation. Yeah, 25. Whatever the
25.
extra is.
Yeah, no, there's no extra. It's just your straight investigation. So 25. So we've got a nat 20 on the investigation check. So it doesn't take you too long, Alessandra. You sort of where you think the road sort of side ends, you sort of walk around for about 10 or 15 minutes, and you find almost like it's a natural rock outcropping which has quite a big overhang. It's almost forming a bit of a cave. It's not a cave. It's not completely closed in. There's a couple of trees on one side giving sort of cover from that area, and there's an overhang enough to shelter them if it rained. And while there is no grass in this area, the grass has completely died off. What grass is there is brown and grey and black, and definitely probably not sustainable. So, but there is a suitable place to hide and tether the horses.
I'll let the group know that, and I would think Fiala would be able to do some grass for them, wouldn't she?
She could certainly try.
No?
Yes, I think so.
Are you going to attempt to what was the spell?
Plant growth. It
Plant growth?
channels vitality into plants into a specific area.
What's the cast time on that?
It's instantaneous. Range area 150 feet.
Oh, it's a cantrip?
No, it's a third level spell, but
third
it
level
says
spell.
yeah.
It's a big slot. It's a big slot to burn.
I know.
But if that's what you want to cast,
what time of day is it?
It's now heading into mid to late afternoon.
Oh, I recommend we just we found a place for the horses. We could probably sit near the horses and break camp there and rest up for the next day.
Yeah, you're only about an hour and a half or so away from the bastion itself. But yeah, it's up to you guys what you want to do.
Well, it might also help our other member that is extremely tired at the present moment. So the more rest she gets, the better. So sounds like a good...
with that, she has to take a full 24 hours of either light duties or rest before that exhaustion will dissipate. She cannot do it in short stints. It has to be all taken in one block. But you can't do a long rest, and that 8 hours doesn't come off the total. You have to actually rest for the full 24 hours. It's not a cumulative.
While we're all standing there, Hit opens his backpack and dumps out some old clothes onto the ground and then puts his backpack back on.
No worries. So, you've got your choice. I mean, you've got, as far as you know, you've got time. You could potentially make camp here and rest for a day to enable Inari to fully recover. Completely your choice.
I think that would be a better idea. That way it'll prepare us for What comes next is a so-called vampire, I guess.
Yeah, it does sound like a prudent choice of action. So, yeah, we'll do that.
Okay,
Set camp and stay here 24 hours.
Okay, so Fiela, are you going to cast plant growth at this point?
Yeah, yes.
So you
Cast.
spend so you can target. If you cast a spell using one action, choose a point within range. All normal plants within a 100-foot radius centered on that point become thick and overgrown. A creature moving through the area must spend 4 feet of movement for every 1 foot it moves. So it basically becomes difficult terrain.
Does that also make it difficult for us?
Yeah, you guys are creatures as well. So essentially, everyone would lose roughly 5 feet of movement. So if you normally move 30 feet, you'd lose 5. So you'd reduce to 25.
I'd like to make a suggestion to Fiela. Fiela, do it on the opposite side of us. That way, we've got some light coverage, and we could also possibly set it alight if need be.
Okay.
Ali, that's the best idea you've had in forever.
So essentially what you can do is you can choose a point which would not hinder you guys, is what Elshon was just saying.
Yes, I'm going to do that.
Okay, so you cast a spell, so expend your spell slot. You guys watch as Fiela mutters some arcane words and traces a sigil in the air in front of her, and within how long does it actually take for this thing to take effect?
This is instantaneous.
Yeah, I'm just talking about the growth in general. Well, say, I mean, obviously it doesn't just go from nothing to instant overgrown. It takes a little bit of time. So over the course of the next sort of 15 or 20 minutes, you watch as fresh grass rapidly sprouts from the area where she'd targeted the spell. Trees start to regrow leaves, and buds. If any of them happen to be fruit trees, they sprout, blossom, and then fruit, and everything sort of becomes reasonably overgrown as well. Like vines and that become thick and heavy. The grass becomes tall and lush. The trees become thick with foliage, and it obscures a lot of behind where you just came from. Is off to one side more, so you've got a place to retreat. But it's within 100 feet, all these plants just grow and bloom and become very, very thick and very overgrown. But it serves its purpose. It offers a bit of cover from one angle, and potential hiding place as well.
Look at it like, that's better. And then I say, all done, guys.
With that spell too, Fiala, just for future reference, if you took 8 hours to cast it, you can enrich the land and all plants within a half-mile radius centered on the point within range, and it becomes enriched for a full year and yield twice as much of normal food when harvested.
Don't want to do that just yet.
Just for future reference.
We don't want them to know we're here. I mean, what you've done's awesome. Probably a little bit too much, but yeah, this will work.
So you guys decide to set up camp. You pitch your tents. You create yourself a little fire ring and a fire. Wood isn't a problem to find here. A lot of the trees, pretty much all the trees, apart from that big circle of fresh growth, is petrified and dry. Easy tinder, easy to get a fire started and to set yourselves up. Inari, for you to recover from your exhaustion, you will need to pretty much not do a hell of a lot of anything physical for the next 24 hours.
Meditate.
Even like meditation's not going to help or accelerate it. It's you just need to take that rest for that full 24 hours. So that means light duties essentially. So you don't want to do any major heavy lifting, or if a combat situation happens, you cannot be involved in the combat. Otherwise, the exhaustion will persist. So you chose to do an hour, about an hour and a half. So you probably, I don't know, maybe half a mile to probably a couple of miles off the bastion. You can see it in the distance. The sun starts to set, and because it's still relatively cloudy and dreary, there's none of those brilliant oranges and purples of sunset. It's all just different shades of grey. And the sun then sets. You guys set yourselves up around your campfire for the evening. What are you guys doing? You've got probably 3 or 4 hours to kill before anyone would be tired enough to sleep.
I'm tired enough to sleep, but I don't sleep, so...
Well, you do. You can. You don't. It's not that you don't sleep. You can choose not to sleep and meditate for that 4 hours to get the same amount of rest. So it's up to you whether you want to sleep or not.
I think it might be prudent to the exhaustion.
Yeah, well, you can still sit and discuss stuff without doing a whole lot. But it's up to you if you want to go into your tent and just rest.
I'll help with making food and stuff first, though.
Anybody else?
Do we still have that deer meat, or is that... Yeah, we still have that, don't we?
Still have the deer meat. You do indeed.
Cook.
It was hung, like Inari hung it the night before, the night she caught it, and I assume someone had salt. I know Het had bought a whole bunch of salt prior to travelling at some stage.
It has wrapping paper as well as salt.
Yeah. So I would assume that you got, with all that, with Het having that knowledge, knowing meat as Het does, he probably would have kept some fresh for himself and possibly salted and wrapped others so that it would last the journey at the very least.
That would be the last use of Het salt, however.
No problem. Duly noted. So you prepare an evening meal. You feed yourselves. You drink whatever water you have. Make sure you're marking off your water skins or anything that you do have, because you are now in an area where there is no water. Not that you've seen for the last day. So if you haven't brought extra water with you, then you need to maybe start looking for a water source as well.
Het moves over to a position near Ellie and sits down next to Ellie. Hello, Ellie. How are you doing today?
I'm good. What would you like?
Well, I just, while we're eating here, I thought I'd take the time to sit down and ask you a few questions. I really want to trap a beaver.
You want to trap a beaver. Why do you want to trap a beaver?
Well, I don't know if you remember, and I'm pretty sure you do. There was a couple of times there where, when I was on watch or sleeping, beaver came into the camp and gave me some trouble, so I want to learn everything I know about it. And you were telling me about what they eat and how they take up my scent and follow me. So I want all the information you have on beaver so I can learn about it. And then trap it and eat it.
Uh-huh.
First things first, color of the beaver. What am I looking for?
Brownish fur, I guess.
Okay. How many eyes does it have?
2.
2 eyes. Het is writing this in his notebook. Okay. Any wings, any discerning features, how many legs?
4 legs, 2 big bucket teeth.
2 big buck teeth. Okay.
You,
4
you,
legs.
long flat tail, yes.
Long tail, you say? Long.
Probably not too long, but flat for making stuff.
Flat for making stuff. Okay. This is good.
Sorry, flat for pounding stuff.
Oh, it pounds things.
Yeah.
How? I mean, the footprints weren't very big. How big is this thing? If it's pounding things, I imagine it's not very big. If it's got footsteps on my body, this tail must be gigantic.
Probably about the size of a cat or a small dog.
Bless you.
Okay, so I'm not imagining something. You made it sound extremely dangerous. I'm not imagining something extremely dangerous right now.
I don't think they're dangerous. Just inquisitive.
I have written here that you told me that they were dangerous and they would sniff me out and stalk its prey, and then once it was after me, it would bite me, I'm sure. And I have that written down.
I don't believe I said it'd stalk you and hunt you down. I said it'd probably follow you.
Follow me. Maybe I wrote that incorrect.
I may have to go back and rewatch the VOD.
I think I might too.
I'm pretty sure head is correct.
Okay.
Anyway, so...
Deception check then?
Actually, yeah, make a deception check for me. Bugger it. Alishonus, make a deception check, and Het, make an insight check.
24.
Het got less than half of that.
Alishonus is pretty convincing. Now you're a little confused. Het. You're pretty certain that it was Alishonus that told you that the beavers were pretty nasty creatures and would hunt you down and ravage you in the night, kind of thing. But now you're not so sure.
Fuck, shit, all this time, I've been thinking they were angry, dangerous. Are you sure you didn't say that?
Yeah, I'm sure.
So, tell me then, if it's not a problem, do I have to worry about capturing it? Is it worth, I mean, are they good eating?
I couldn't tell you that one. I'll tell you what.
So you're saying in all your life you've never eaten a beaver?
No.
That's very cool. There's a lot of things I haven't eaten either, I suppose. Nonetheless. Okay, but I want to. I'm in the...
What I will
forth.
what I will say is, when it comes for night watch, always choose a night watch with Fiela, okay?
Why is that?
Think she's a good luck charm, and that beaver won't be around.
You think she's a good luck charm? Okay, that's a fair call. She seems very nice after all, and she's very powerful for someone who doesn't believe in gods. Okay, I will keep that in mind. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Knowing his after his chat with Fiona the night before, writes in his notebook, Ellie is a liar.
Both you guys take DM's inspiration for that, because that was actually really well done. Alice showed us the suggestion for the watch, brilliant. So yeah, DM's inspiration for both you guys. So that'll give you a re-roll on an ability check of your choosing at a later date.
Thanks for the chat, Ellie. Hopefully we can do it again now that you're kind of part of the group more and more. I guess working with us again, I guess we could say.
Not a problem.
Excellent. And he gets up and sort of sits back closer to wherever the food has been prepped.
Yep, no problem. So with that, is there any other conversations that need to be had before people turn in?
Can I go foraging through this growth that Fiala's spawned behind us to see if there's anything like natural mushrooms or berries or stuff that could be eaten?
You could if you wanted to, yeah.
I can
Nothing
handle
else
that.
to do.
No, you can't, and else you would not. You would keep your exhaustion.
Oh, okay, I'm just
So,
chilling,
Sadiq,
watching.
roll a survival check for me.
Oh, survivals, they're my favourite. That would be a 15?
15? That's not bad. It's pretty good. You sort of, it takes you a little while to move through this thick grass, because I mean it's really overgrown, and it takes you a little bit because your movement is slowed. You sort of move through. You don't have to go very far before you find an apple tree laden with fruit. You also sort of, as you're sort of looking around the area, you find a bush that looks like something similar to blackberries or raspberries or something like that. They're a dark fruit, very similar to a blackberry. So there is quite a few bits and pieces you find. There's no animal life that you have seen, but there's plenty of what seems to be edible fruit. And even something that sort of resembles maybe like an almond or some kind of nut, which looks like it could be edible as well.
I'll take as much as I can carry and take it back to the camp. Since we're going to be here a while, we might as well have...
Yeah, I would say that you'd quite easily say grab, let's say, half a pound of the blackberry type fruit, and let's say maybe 8 or 10 good sized apples, because they are decent sized apples, and probably about the same, about half a pound, not half a pound, a good handful of these nuts. So they're not huge type nuts, but they definitely taste alright. You sort of grab one, taste it, and it tastes fine. So you grab enough of those that you think would be good for you guys, probably serve you guys for a couple of 3 days with what you can carry. So Sadiq returns back to the camp, you guys, with offerings of fruit and nuts, apples, these raspberry, blackberry type fruits, and some small nut things, which are all edible and very, very, very delicious.
Excellent. Something to eat. Something different from salted meat.
Definitely. So you are all still sort of sitting around the campfire. You're all sort of, how many you've had a bit of salted or cooked meat, depending on how you want to have it. Raw meat for those that prefer that. And now Sadiq has provided dessert as such, in the form of these apples and berries and a few nuts.
People will never eat vegetables, apples, nor will he ever eat nuts.
Kind of gathered.
Your badger might like them though.
Sadiq, if you wish to eat nuts, that is completely up to you.
Okay. You sure you don't want it for your beaver?
Perfect,
No.
perfect to trap a beaver, fruit and nuts.
Ali, hey, hang on. Inari, have you trapped beaver before?
Yes, I have.
Excellent, I shall talk to you later. Have you ever eaten a beaver?
Definitely. Bit chewy.
Chewy, you say? I do have sharp teeth.
And very furry. Gets stuck in your teeth.
It's furry and it gets stuck in your teeth. You have... everyone here, I mean, except for maybe Sadiq, has flat teeth. That must be ridiculous for eating.
No,
We-
it's quite
we-
fine.
We normally skin it first, head. We don't eat the fur. You push the fur aside and keep on eating.
Yayla turns a little pale.
Hang on, Inari. You just said you eat it with a fur on and you're a hunter, I believe, of some description.
Just
But Sadiq,
been
who's
out in the
a
field.
trapper... Whoa, hang on. There's something not right. There's some incongruent information here. which one of you is telling me the porky and which one of you is telling me the truth. Inside check.
Roll an insight check. For those that are lying, roll deception check. And for those that are telling the truth, roll persuasion. So, Inari, what was your roll?
I was lying. What did I perceive? What did you say?
What deception check? So, what was your roll?
Deception. I got a dirty 20.
A dirty 20 for deception. Sadiq, deception or persuasion, your
Actually,
choice?
no, it would have been persuasion.
I'm
sorry.
trying to persuade him into the fact that you actually normally skin the animal.
Okay,
to
so
keep the
you're telling the truth, yeah. So, persuasion check for you.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
lie, so it
Well, the
should have
thing
been
is,
persuasion.
you were lying, though. So,
I was. So yes, it still did. Dirty 20
dirty
either way.
20 on deception for Inari. Sadiq, your roll?
Yeah, mine would be actually a roll to 7, so that's a 6.
So, a 6 for persuasion for Sadiq. Het, what was your insight check?
It has you all numbered here. Natural 1.
So you believe them
Oh,
both.
yeah.
You believe Inari and what she's telling you, and you believe Sadiq as well. That the way that to do things is. So you're still a little confused because you believe both stories.
It's hard, because you half-elf, elven type people always seem to be so true and upfront, and I feel like you've been... Okay, maybe in the wild when you're crazy and you're just doing things quickly, you eat them with fur on, but Sadiq,
Yep.
I've seen your trapping skills, and okay, I'm gonna have to try them both ways then. Beaver fur on, beaver fur off.
Well,
Yes.
okay. Het, when we caught those rabbits so long ago, what did we do? We skinned them and we used the meat. We left the skin for something else.
What did we use the skin for? We did not waste it, did we?
No, I think we took it back and sold them, maybe? I can't remember what we did to the rabbit hide.
That is good. Next time we kill a creature and skin it, I want to eat both the meat portion and the skin portion, especially if we find a beaver.
I look at Het and I'm like, Het, honestly, you would only do that if you couldn't light a fire.
I do not eat cooked meat, Miss Inari.
That's true. You might like to fur it first, to skin it first.
Okie dokie. I shall take that on board.
I
Thank you
didn't
for your
realize he was
advice.
going to believe me, so I'm just smiling to myself.
Right. Any other conversation before turning in?
I would just like to quickly talk to Allie, so I'm gonna walk over to her and sit down. Allie, I wanted to talk to you about this life boon.
Yes.
I know I kind of brought it on you all of a sudden, but I just want you to know that I'm tied as much to you as you are to me. So basically,
how's that?
I consider us family now. So you're not by yourself anymore.
Okay, cool.
And if you're a changeling and you are interested in another changeling, how would you go about, like, how do changelings show they like each other? Like, do they switch into somebody else, or like, what do you do?
I'd love to answer you on that topic, but as far as I know, I don't know what my kind do.
Huh. So you have no idea then.
But I can assure you, we can have a lot of fun.
Wait, I'm not asking if you like me. Hold on. I mean, we're just friends. I didn't mean.
I'm just putting it out there.
All right, have a good night, Allie. I'm gonna go over here. I've gotta pee. I gotta visit the little druid tree. See ya.
With that, Fiala sort of disappears rather quickly. mildly embarrassed by the conversation that took place. Before you guys turn in for the evening, we need to discuss the watches for the evening, the course of the evening. Who is going to take first, second, and third watch?
I'll take first.
So Alessandra
I'll
shall
stay
take
up
first.
with. I'll stay up with Ali and
Okay.
take first.
So Sadiq and Alessandra on first watch. Second watch.
Hit will take second watch.
Anyone going to take watch with Hit, or we're going to do Hit on his own?
I'm sorry, I can't take a watch, but if you really need me, wake me.
I guess I'll take watch for that.
Okay. And last watch will have to be an Ari.
Well, I can take the last one if she needs to sleep.
You can
again.
take a watch, Anari. You just, like I said, you just can't be involved in anything
I'll take
heavy.
the last one
Yeah.
then.
So now you can take the final watch. So with that, everyone, you have your conversations, you finish your meals, you set yourselves up for the evening in your tents, get comfortable, and you turn in. Alessandros and Sadiq, you are on first watch. Can I get you both to make a perception check? Alessandros with disadvantage. I know you got your goggles on you.
Yes.
So you've got firelight, so you can generally do just a regular roll anyway. So I get you both to make perception checks for your watch.
Nat 20, 24.
Holy crap.
It's good that he rolled that because I rolled a 0.
Holy Jesus. Did you roll a nat 1 and your perception's
Yeah.
-1?
It's -1 now.
Holy
It's my wisdom.
shit. Alessandros, you in the distance you hear something. Sadiq, you're mildly preoccupied by God knows what, maybe staring into the fire, thinking about how you'd like to
How I'm
dismember.
going to kill this vampire, dismantle his family.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Alessandros, you hear. It's in the distance. It's quiet, but it's
Yeah, I can hear that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
it's not close, but it's very disturbing. It sounds really creepy. Lasts for maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and then it just sort of slowly fades into the night, and you don't really hear it anymore. And the rest of your watch generally goes without too many hiccups. You don't really hear it again. You're not sure what it was. Just really in the distance. You weren't 100% sure. But it kept you on sort of edge for the rest of your watch. Yeah, Sadiq, you didn't really hear anything or notice anything. Was there anything you guys wished to discuss during your period of watch?
To talk to Ali about just how he joined the Fang and how he found them, so I can try to work out if it was the vampire and the spawn that killed them or if it was just something else.
I explained to Sadiq what it was that I saw down there, how the bodies were.
So yeah, because you
displayed
guys
and-
investigated pretty good down there. So, and if I remember right, your rolls were pretty good too. So yeah, Alessandro explains to you the manner in which they found the bodies. Some of the bodies were definitely ensanguinated, so they were completely bled out and dry. Others were just completely torn apart, extremely brutal. And from your knowledge of the undead and devils and demons and fiends, from the description that Alessandros gives you, you can generally well determine that it was definitely the work of a vampire or vampire spawn, and probably something else a lot more brutal than a vampire. Vampires can be brutal, but some of the wounds that Alessandros described were a lot more devastating than even a vampire is capable of.
So there was something else there outside of what we killed.
Yep.
I'll make a note.
there was definitely something probably bigger from the wounds that were described. Alessandro's got a pretty good look, and I said their investigation rolls were pretty high, so they're not. You're not sure what creature could have made the wounds, but you could determine the creature would have been quite large, and definitely more violent and more brutal than a general vampire usually is. I mean, they're brutal anyway. They're especially vampire spawn. They're barely human, but it was definitely larger and a lot more violent. Anything else you wish to discuss before waking Het and Fiala for their watch?
No, just
No?
that. I think that would take probably 4 hours to go over it.
I think, yeah. I mean, by the time you guys sort of went through the details and questions back and forth, you would be obviously asking for specific details of the bled out victims and wounds and sort of the state of certain corpses and stuff, and obviously Alessandros would have then relayed the information that they burnt the bodies.
Would it Ellie turned into the body so I could examine it myself?
I can't do that.
No. Yeah, definitely. She couldn't turn into a disemboweled body or anything like that.
Actually, I can do something else.
What have you got? I know you've got a spell. I'm not sure that spell is capable of doing what he's asking.
Minor illusion.
It's not a powerful enough spell. It's only able to do very basic illusions. So, you can create an image such as a chair, muddy footprint, small chest. It must be no larger than 5 foot cube. Image can't create sound, light, smell. I suppose you could probably. I would allow you to create like a portion, like say to show what the upper torso of one of the mutilated bodies looked like. Like you wouldn't be able to create the entire body, but you'd probably be able to create enough from say waist to breast, waist to sort of clavicle, so that the upper torso, and just sort of show the extent of the wounds. It wouldn't be too elaborate, but you'd definitely get an idea of what the wounds look like. I mean, it wouldn't be very detailed.
Yeah, what I'd be asking him to do is to the creature marks that the big creature was.
Yeah.
So I could try to identify what it could have been.
Yep. So I'll allow him to create a minor illusion to that effect.
Then I
Show
shall
the
do
wounds. And with that, you would have to get you to make a what could this be? Medicine check, maybe? Medicine or history, whatever you prefer.
Alright, so that would be a 24. I picked history.
History, 24. So with your knowledge of the undead and fiends, with your studies with the Blood Hunter Order, you look at this illusion, and the illusion, like I said, it's only a minor illusion, so it doesn't have a lot of detail, but just the size of the wound and sort of certain claw marks across the body, across that part of the body, you're pretty certain that it was a demon of some kind, a devil, potentially possibly a bone devil, or maybe a chain devil, something of that description, something of that nature.
Okay, so that's a bit disconcerting. Alright, cool. Alright,
Cool.
We've got a rough idea, and I'm gonna, when we do wake up Het, I'm just gonna relay that it looks like the Fang were taken out by the demon and that coalition, which makes me think that there's something else going on in the background.
Yeah, it's definitely it makes you feel uneasy for sure. The fact that you got vampires and demons working together, which doesn't normally happen.
Not only that, they're taking out the Fang, which is a bunch of thieves, which that doesn't quite make sense. So there's
Sure.
got to be something that they could have done to help us, but now they can't. So
That's a
that's
pretty good assumption. So with that, before you guys wake the others, Hit, you wanted to do something?
No, after the watch, please.
After the watch, okay. Cool. So, yeah, so you guys, your watch finishes, you finish your discussion. Sadiq, you make your draw your conclusions from the information you were given. You pass that information to Het and Fiala as you wake them for their watch, that you are uneasy of that particular coalition. The reasons behind the attack on the Fang is unclear. You inform them of your suspicions that potentially the Fang may have had information or were able to help you in some way, which is why they were targeted. You're not 100% sure, but that is the suspicion that is being raised.
Thanks for that information, Sadiq. You're always on the job. I see you're always thinking. I like that about you.
yeah. And just before I go to bed, I'm going to write a letter to the order, which I'll send once we get.
Okay, cool. So you spend what, maybe 15-20 minutes penning a letter to your blood hunter order, the ghost slayers, and find your rest for the evening, as do you, Elishandros. Het and Fiala, you are woken for your watch. You are both fed the information, and you are now sitting at the campfire. Is there anything you guys wish to discuss before perception checks?
Well,
Sorry, go ahead.
no, you go first.
I just wanted to thank you again for the nice notebook and ink pen you gave me. Hed's been using it a lot to make notes. Het also liked the idea we spoke of the night before about playing a prank on the others, especially Ellie, with the whole beaver business. So, I've made some notes about. I went and spoke to Ellie earlier and asked her a few questions about what she knew. And then there got a little bit of information from Anari and Sadiq as well. Some of that is conflicting. Nonetheless, I think we should let this blow over for a little while, and then maybe in a few nights' time talk about it again and play the prank when sort of they least expect it.
Yeah, let it just kind of sink in. And I don't think Inari knows I changed into the whole beaver thing anyway, so she might just let you eat me, really.
Yeah, I guess it still would be nice if they all had no clue, and then it would be funny. I'm hoping it would be really funny.
Well, we'll see.
Okay, so otherwise, yes, I'll make some rounds here and check out the edges of the camp. Maybe at the end of this watch, you might be able to show me or teach me some of the things I asked you about a few nights earlier.
Oh, yeah, I could do that.
That would be good. So it's just at the end of the watch. I mean, you're 10 to a mine.
Probably mine.
Okay, sweet. All right. Anyway, I'll do some rounds. We don't want to get caught in an ambush like we did last time. So yeah, I'll be back shortly.
All right.
Right, so perception checks from both of you, please.
$18.
18. And hit.
9.
9. So, with that, Fiala, because you're attuned to the sounds of the forest and stuff, and you haven't heard any animals or birds, you keep listening, hoping you might just hear something just to make you feel a little bit more comfortable. Even with the overgrown part that you created, there's just no animal life whatsoever. and you're straining to hear, and you also, off in the distance, you hear this sound. It's unfamiliar to you. It's really creepy sounding, but you can just hear it over the crackle of the fire. Again, it lasts maybe 15, 20 minutes, maybe half an hour. You're not 100% sure how long it lasts, but it lasts for some time, and then it sort of quietens down and dissipates. Hit, you don't really hear it. You're sort of walking around. You're hearing the crackling of the sound of the dirt under your feet, and the occasional branch that you sort of stand on and cracks and breaks. You definitely don't want to be ambushed by gnolls again, but you also get the feeling that in this place there is nothing living. There is potentially nothing here to ambush you. You do think on occasion you might have seen some movement out of the corner of your eye as you sort of doing your rounds, but nothing really eventuates on your guys' watch. So, if there's nothing else you guys wish to discuss before the end of your watch, before you wake Inari for the final watch?
No, I'm going to relay to Inari the moaning that I heard.
Okay.
No problem.
So, as you guys retire to Fiela's tent together, are you trying to do so discreetly, or you're not paying much mind to that?
Discreetly.
You can try and do it discreetly?
Yes, he will go to his team first, give it a
Okay.
few minutes, and then go to Fiela's tent.
Do I notice this?
Just hang on a second. So, Inari, as you sit, take your place, and Hit, you wait until you hear Inari get up for a first sort of patrol to walk around the camp. Hit, make a stealth check, and Inari make a perception check, which will be at a straight roll because you are still exhausted, but you are in a forest, technically. So it'll be a straight roll.
12 for hit.
And your perception, Inari?
14.
So you do notice, Hit, as quiet as you are, I mean, you don't know, you probably haven't noticed her, but you think that Inari has sort of walked past your tent, and you assume she has her back to you, so you slowly sort of make your way out of your tent and over to Fiela's tent as quietly as you possibly can. As far as you're aware, you've managed to get there without being spotted by Inari. Inari, you notice Hit move from one tent to another. You know that it is Fiela's tent, and you've definitely noticed it. You take note of it. What you do with that information is up to you. How you react to that is up to you.
I let it go.
There we go. So you continue your patrol. You do a full circle of the encampment. Make another perception check for your patrol. Again, just a straight roll.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. Fiela did pass on the information that she'd heard a strange sort of low murmuring moan sound off in the distance during their watch, and you're aware of that, so you listen, and you're listening intently, and you also, just as the wind sort of shifts towards the camp, you also hear that low sort of moaning murmur off in the distance. It's definitely some distance off. It's not close. It's not coming any closer. But it's weird. It's not a sound you've heard yourself before either. So, but it kind of carries on the wind and echoes a little bit in the reverb of the plain, because it's a very kind of flat area. And again, lasts about 10 or 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half hour, and then sort of dissipates into the air as the wind changes, and it's sort of not carrying that sound anymore. The rest of your watch is uneventful. Het, do you remain in Fiela's tent for the remainder of the evening, or do you try and sneak back to your tent?
Once he has done what he needs to do, he will head back to his tent.
Do you wish to do so stealthily again?
I just DM'd you something.
Yes, yes, do, yeah, make a performance check before heading back.
That would be an 18.
18. You do well in whatever it is you're doing. You learn quickly, so you do very well in the task at hand. Then, do you wish to return to your tent, trying to be stealthy once more?
Yes, Het will say thank you to Fiela, and he appreciates everything she's been teaching him, and he stealthily heads back to his tent.
Okay, so you listen again. You sort of get to the flap of the tent. You sort of peek out and you wait for Inari to once again stand up and start that perimeter walk. And you wait for the right moment. Roll another stealth check for me. I just saw the chat. 9. And another. What's your passive perception, Inari?
My passive.
Yeah.
My passive perception is 14, but I rolled a 22.
Either way.
So he'll find that I'm standing at the back of the tent.
Yeah, either way, you do notice him exit Fiela's tent and start to return to his own. What are you going to do, if anything?
I just go over to Het and say, "Oh, what were you doing?"
Nothing. Just checking on Fiela to make sure she's all right.
Do I believe him?
Roll an insight check. And hit persuasion or deception, whichever you are attempting. Your
17
choice.
for me.
17 on your insight?
I'm rolling a lot of 9s tonight.
So 9 again. So whichever you were attempting, persuasion or either way, it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter. I failed either
You
way.
failed. Yeah, Nari hit seems a little flushed even for a Dragonborn. He's stammering a little bit. His eyes are shifting from left to right. He doesn't really want to look you in the eye. You've dealt with enough deception in your time to know when someone's lying to you.
I look at him and I say, "If you hurt her, you have me to deal with."
I weigh a lot. Is that what you're talking about? Are you calling me fat?
I just look at him.
Roll a intimidation check for me. But that'll be at disadvantage.
Oh, that 20!
That'll be at disadvantage because you're still exhausted.
14!
14.
I'm
I would
very
say that,
intimidating.
Het is used to intimidating people himself. He's not used to having someone get in his face and try and intimidate him. So Het, it's a little unnatural for you to have someone, because she really sort of got close to you, and you can tell she means business. You can tell that she's very serious about what she said. You're not intimidated, but you definitely take on board the intent of her statement.
How tall is Inari compared to Het?
She is quite as you're probably about the same height. She's a full blood elf, so she's 6 foot tall. So she's a little, she's about the same height as you. So if you guys are standing, you'd be looking each other, you'd be eye to eye.
Het leans in and he says, I do not wish her any harm. I have actually known her longer than you, I believe, so I suggest you back off and stop questioning me.
Roll an intimidation check for you, Het, please.
This is my strong point.
Knowing Het and how this would be portrayed, it would definitely be intimidation.
22.
Ooh.
Yeah. Inari, again, you step into Het and you make this statement with absolute conviction. You mean what you said. He knows you mean what you said, and he comes back with that statement. You definitely get the sense that he is definitely not intending any harm with to Fiala at all. You're not intimidated by him. You've dealt with lots of Dragonborn before, and you know how gruff they can be and how very direct they can be. But again, you are definitely sure of his intent, and you know that if you were to cross him, it would definitely not be good for either party. I mean, there's definitely there's no animosity there, but he definitely means business.
Oh,
But
I
you
just
stand
smile.
you stand your ground with him.
I smile sweetly and answer in Draconic. Good to know. And then I wander off.
Is that the first time Hit's heard her in Draconic?
No, she greeted you in Draconic when you first met. Whether you noticed it, probably may not have, because it was right at the time of combat, and you guys were still pretty raw with the whole Nomarish thing, so you may not have noticed so much. But
Yeah,
this
I
was
think I
definitely,
feel like he
yeah,
knows, so
this
he's
was
quite
definitely clear, very, very well spoken and well enunciated Draconic. She definitely has a good handle on the language.
And so as she says it and sort of turns to walk away, Hit grasps her shoulder. Hey, I've lost my voice. Hit grasps her shoulder. Hit grasps her shoulder and says, well spoken. I'll see you tomorrow. And he heads to his tent.
Sleep
done.
well.
Nicely done. Het, you retire to your tent and you bed down for the remainder of the evening. Is there anything else you wanted to do before you drifted off to sleep?
Yes, one last thing. Hit pulls forth a symbol of the Steel Lady only and just makes a quick prayer to her to point him in the right direction, as he is a little unsure of this new path. And then he lays down.
Okay, noted. During the course of the evening, you have not nightmares. They're not good dreams either, though. They're kind of somewhere in between. Thoughts of Adrian and Yannick come to mind. Their demise, that anger comes back again, which quickly subsides, and you feel almost a comforting whisper. It's a tune. It's a song you know well, and it's a song that you probably have used yourself in times, using it for spells and things. But it definitely comforts you for until you finally drift off to that real deep sleep. So you definitely get the sense that the Steel Lady is still with you and still very much looking out for you. You haven't felt the presence for a few days, so you're a little worried, but you do feel comfort in that. Inari, the rest of your watch goes without a hitch. You all now awake in the morning after a long night's rest. So any spells that you have used, you've recovered. Any lost HP is recovered. You've rested for about 8 to 10 hours. So Inari, you'll need gonna need roughly well into the next evening of not really doing a whole lot to recover from your exhaustion. So about another 12 to 14 hours. But the day comes. The fire has died out enough that you've got to restoke it, ready to cook and do any cooking for the morning.
I
Things
get the
like
coffee
that.
on.
You wake the others, or let them wake naturally. It's up to you.
I put pancakes on the griddle.
There are no pancakes.
I am making pancakes.
What are you going to make them with? Have you got the ingredients?
Deer meat.
Deer meat pancakes.
So they're steak pancakes.
So you're putting deer meat pancakes on for breakfast?
And some coffee.
Thanks, Drax. Does anyone actually have the ingredients to make coffee? Did anyone actually buy any coffee?
Yeah, lad.
I have an herbalism kit.
Yeah, actually, I'll allow it. I'd say that with your wild growth thing, you probably grew a coffee plant, knowing you, and you've got some coffee beans, and you're able to
super fresh coffee.
Smash the coffee beans up with a sword or a mace or whatever weapon you've got. You're bound to be able to grind your coffee down or do whatever you do, however you decide to make it.
Kit goes through the alchemy jug and sees no coffee there.
No, there is no coffee in the alchemy jug. You're quite right. You just wasted 10k points, Nutty, because that doesn't work on D&D night.
I said for the break.
Doesn't work on D&D night. We don't do it on D&D night.
Do it Monday night then.
No. I was supposed to turn it off. That was what I was supposed to do. Anywho. The morning breaks. Coffee is brewed. Deer pancakes are made.
And because I'm nice, I've left some nice and raw for it.
Thank you for noticing, Inari. I appreciate it.
It'll roll over to Monday night. We'll do it Monday. So, the day starts. You have, again, it's still fairly cloudy. It's still no birds, no animal sounds. You know that you've still pretty much Nari pretty much has to rest for the bulk of pretty much the rest of this day and into the early evening to lose that point of exhaustion. So you got a few options. You can remain at camp and discuss further plans on your impending incursions. You can do some scouting, potentially. Pretty much the day is yours.
Hour away, right?
About an hour and a half. You'd be about an hour and a half on horseback. So to go on foot, Inari is pretty good at sort of reading the terrain. This is her favorite terrain. Even with exhaustion, she can explain to you guys that on foot, given the lay of the land and how far it'd probably take you just over 2 hours to get to the estate edge or estate grounds, and roughly the same back. So you're looking at about a 4-hour round trip.
I'm gonna look at Alessandros and go, feel like going for a scouting trip.
Yeah, why not?
Awesome. And then do the, I'll get everything together. Probably leave Het and Fiala and that there so that she can rest and the other two can go.
Yeah, talk it out with them. Let them know what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm just going to say to everyone, like, I'm going to take Ali and we'll go try to find out, get a lay of the land so we can start planning a trip, since Inari can't go anywhere until probably tomorrow morning.
Alrighty. Sounds good.
Okay, well, you'll be alright with just the two of you.
Well, I'm hoping that, we're not going to actually engage anyone. We're just going there to look and then see what the forces are like, see if there is any defenses or whatever.
Okay.
Because we got no idea now, so we need to find.
Het just says, be careful, and please, if you see anything, don't engage and do not touch teleport symbols, just in case.
Good point. And Het? Can I borrow your compass?
Oh,
Ah, yes. Hit reluctantly takes the compass from his pack, grips it tightly, and says, Sadiq, I trust you just about more than anyone else here. Just about. Please take care of my compass. And he hands it forth.
Nice. Alright.
I look
So
at
I'm
them
gonna-
quizzically. What's it with the compass?
It's a holy relic. Shut up and leave it alone.
I just look at Sadiq and I'm like, okay, you'll keep.
So with that, Sadiq and Alessandros, you set out towards the Bastion. Are you doing so stealthily or just at a regular pace at this stage?
Regular yesterday.
Yeah, probably go regular until we're like within like hearing distance, and then start going stealthy from there.
So we'll follow you guys to begin with. Hit, Fiela, and Anari, you stay back at the camp, doing whatever you wish to do there. So you guys, Sadiq and Alessandros, you head out. You follow what's left of the road. You can still sort of see where the road leads. It hasn't completely overgrown, but some of it has. You walk a few more yards, and you'll find a bit of the road. And you can see the Bastion, so you know where you're going. And obviously, with the aid of the compass, you are able to find direction pretty well. It takes you, like I say, about an hour and a half on foot, and then you can clearly see the boundary of the estate. The house comes in, the large stone estate house comes into view. Looks like it has a large tower-like structures on the four corners. It looks like a castle, but it's not a castle. You can distinctly tell that it's not big enough to be a castle-style sort of building, but it has towers on all four corners, very similar to how a castle would be, slightly smaller. I'll get you then, if you wanted to proceed any closer than where you are, to make a stealth check each.
Alright, so we're gonna proceed. Try to get as close as we possibly can so we can get the best view, because we don't have a spyglass or anything like that.
No, you do not. So stealth checks from you both.
23.
23 from Alessandros. Zeke.
And because I was smart, I took my armor off before we went on this little trip.
So make sure you take note of reduced AC in case of any unfortunate business.
I've clicked the little thingy-majiggy.
Okay, so you
which
do not
now
suffer any
means
disadvantage.
Yeah, which now means I get a stealth check of.
Of what? Sorry, you cut out.
I got a stealth check of 20.
20. So as far as you both know, you're pretty stealthy, and yeah, Sadiq. Obviously, without your armor, you're definitely a lot quieter than usual. You guys spend the next 40-45 minutes sort of moving around what would be the front of the estate. There's the remainder of an old stone wall, which is just crumbled over time in places, so you're able to find a gap in the wall and make it inside the actual estate itself. All the trees are petrified and dead. Some have completely fallen over. These old stumps and that petrified stumps around the place. The grass is there is still some green patches in places, but it's a real dark green, and the rest of it's brown and greys, patches of earth, and even the earth seems more grey than brown in places. From where you find a bit of a vantage point, a small hill on sort of the western side of the estate. You're probably within maybe 150 yards of the front of the main estate home. From where you are, what you see is this. You see two large stone statues flanking a drawbridge, which is down. It is spanning over a small moat-like river, which is almost completely dried up. There is virtually no water in it. There's water in the bottom of it, but it doesn't look like it's very deep. It's obviously not been maintained at all. Rainfall here seems to be not have been much, as you say, everything's sort of died off. You notice petrified trees. You also notice a largest tent pitched to one side of the drawbridge, and a small wisp of smoke drifting up from a small campfire. You cannot see anybody at this point. There is no one sort of around the tent or around the campfire, but you get the sense that there's potentially someone sort of there. There's definitely someone there. There's a campfire that's got smoke. It's either they've been there recently and moved on. The fact the tent's still there would suggest that someone or something is still there. There is a slight breeze, and you do get that. Nutty, thank you for reminding me. But you do get that. So you know the old petrified trees and the branches move in the wind, the creaking wood, that real eerie sort of sound of the branches sort of scraping along each other as the wind sort of blows every now and again. You also, both of you this time, hear that same sound that you heard the night before, Alessandros. Sadiq, you're hearing this for the first time. It still sounds distant, but it almost sounds like it's underground a little bit. It doesn't sound like it's out and distant in front of you. It sounds like it's below you. It's very unnerving, indeed. And again, you sort of hear it for a short amount of time, and then it sort of seems to fade into any background noise with the creaking of trees and the wind and things like that. But that is what you can see from your vantage point.
Roughly how big would the tent be? Like a 2-3 person?
From your position, it would probably almost looks like a vendor's tent. Like it'd be big enough to have 1 or 2 people maybe inside, probably 3 to 4 at max, sort of standing, almost like a small circus tent type thing. So you're looking at maybe 20 feet around total.
So
it's a good sized tent.
Alright, so I'm going to say 2-person tent. So if there was someone staying there, there's potentially 2 people.
Potentially.
Ali, do you have anything that could help you see, like, past the moat? Actually into the compound itself?
No.
Alright, cool. Let's get out of here then.
So that's we'll leave you there for a moment, guys. Back to the camp. Hitfiela and Anari, you the Sadiq and Alessandros have been gone probably a good 2.5 hours. We're almost coming up 3 hours now. What did you guys, if anything, wanted to do in that time while they were gone? Anybody?
I'll study some Dwarvish.
You study some Dwarvish? How many hours did you have left on that you had to study?
6.
6?
I had 6 yet.
So we'll say mark down 3 hours of study time. So you're now down to 3 hours left on that before you can make your check on that again. So mark 3 hours off that. Anything else you guys wanted to do in that time? Actually, mark off 4 hours for the other, because by the time the others get back, it'll be about 4 hours. If you wanted to study for that whole 4 hours.
Hit wanted to discuss with Anari ways to trap beaver. Anari, are you keen on what do you carry? Do you actually carry anything for making traps? And how would you go about trapping a beaver if you were to trap?
See, I would normally, because beavers quite like wood. So what I would normally do is find some good wood and make a little trap for them. I can show you if you like. There's enough dead branches around, I can actually build it for you. A beaver trap.
I mean, obviously, we want to stay near our camp here. We don't want to leave Fiona alone. She's reading.
Oh, no.
something.
If we can just gather some sticks, I'll show you.
Okay, I'm going to quickly look for some sticks for you then.
You easily find a whole bunch of again. Everything's petrified and dried, so you find a whole a dozen or so small sticks.
A bundle of sticks, you say?
A bundle of sticks, yes. And
the correct terminology for that is a faggot.
It is.
This is correct.
It is the correct terminology indeed. You find your bundle of sticks and you return to the camp, and indeed, Inari has a good knowledge of trapping and snaring, and she builds you a couple of different types of snares, with a little bit of rope and a stick and a small branch. Pulls the branch down to make it almost like a spring trap. Shows you how to notch the wood and set the branch so that if anything was to touch it with the bait, it would literally hoop their rear legs and the branch would swing up and lift whatever you caught off the ground, have them suspended in the air. Very little damage to the animal. It wouldn't kill them. It just suspend them there until you're ready to come and clear the trap. She also creates a cage style trap, very similar, very basic. Builds a little cage out of the sticks and then proceeds with a stick that has a little bit of a fork in it, leans it on that and runs a piece of rope, essentially running a leader from that stick. And she explains that this one you can just sit there and wait until whatever animal you're baiting simply walks in under the cage, and then you pull the stick away and it drops a cage.
But I look Het straight in the eyes and say, Het, you must remember that beavers love wood. You need to bait it with wood.
That's good to know. Het is copying everything that Inari does, so he wants to make mimics of everything she makes. And while he's doing this, he wants to be telling her the story of once I woke up and there were paw prints all over me, and Ali told me it was a beaver. And then there was another time that it was like not only paw prints, but it was like urine and feces, and Fiona and Ali were both telling me that the beavers, and he gives it a full sort of story.
Yeah, no worries.
I just looked a little bit horrified.
Do I learn from her very well?
Roll a performance check for me to see how well.
Do I teach him well?
Well, you don't really need to. You know what you're doing, so your skills are well proven as a hunter. But yeah, performance check from you, Het, to see how well you learn. With
28.
28. Inari, you go through the processes, making both snares, and you're explaining things as you go, and you watch as Het expertly just mimics everything step by step. Watching you intently and focusing on what you're saying and literally makes an exact copy of both traps that you've just created, and they work perfectly as intended. Nothing breaks. The perfect tension on the branch trap. The more simpler trap, even though it's a lot more easier to make, making the actual cage and taking little pieces of rope or vine to form the cage. The knots are a little bit trickier for most people to pick up, but even with its dragonborn fingers, is able to deftly tie those knots and craft these items.
With Het telling me the whole story, would I have clicked that it was a joke?
Well, you know nothing about the whole joke thing anyway, so, and you also don't know that Fiala has confessed either, so so no, you're listening
horrified
to it a little bit astounded that a beaver would do that anyway, because I mean you know wildlife, and you know that beavers generally don't do that sort of thing. And how much detail did you go into describing like the footprints and things like that? Did you go into as much detail as possible?
He was just giving it to her as a story, as you would relate a story, not in major detail.
Yeah. So everything you described was just not typical of a beaver. I mean, it seemed a little bit far-fetched to you, but he genuinely believes
I
that
smile
what's
sweetly.
happened. Yeah, well, the thing is, you believe that he's telling the truth because he is. He's definitely telling the truth. But you're a little bit weirded out by the whole beaver thing. So, anything else you guys wanted to do before the others return?
Hit us happy.
I think I'm just going to sit down and relax for
Okay.
a while now that I've given a nice.
Yeah, well, you were. I mean, this stuff's nothing to you. It's not like it's heavy. He did all the heavy work by going to find the branches and things. The crafting of the traps and stuff was second nature to you. It doesn't take any effort at all. So you get another 4 hours of rest. Another couple hours goes by, and Sadiq and Alshana's return. So now we're looking probably after midday by that time. So it's sort of mid-afternoon in the next day, and you guys return and relay what you saw to the rest of the group, which is still on screen for the other players. Essentially, that is what was greeting Sadiq and Elshonus as they approached the front of the estate.
Welcome back. How was your trip?
It was good. I'm going to hand back the compass. Thank you for
You
letting
my
me borrow this
precious.
head.
I look over and raise an eyebrow.
Yeah,
So there,
no copyright there at all, guys. Just showing.
Yeah, so I'm gonna explain what it was laying out, that we can hear moanings, which is most likely ghouls of some kind on the other, somewhere nearby.
And as
and
Sadiq
there's
explains
that
that as well, all of you that heard that moaning through the evening all sort of click that it's probably the same thing. So you all sort of go, sort of hint to a hint of recognition when that is said. The size of the tent, you gave them all the details there. So you got possibly a 2-man tent, maybe a little larger. You got a moat which is virtually empty and devoid of water. There is some water there, but it doesn't look very deep. The large statues either side of the drawbridge, which is down. The drawbridge is open and accessible. A lot of petrified trees and stumps and dead grass.
No guards and enemies.
There was no sign of any movement at all.
That
Yeah,
seems
it
rather
looks-
strange.
Yeah, except that there was what is the 2-man tent, I'm guessing, which had a fire near it, which kind of makes me think that there was someone stupidly staying the night there, and now they've become food. No,
Did you go
that's
into
all I
the
could-
tent?
No, we were just scouting. Yeah, we didn't go to the tent.
Good, you never know what teleportals could take you anywhere if you choose to touch the wrong thing.
I'm not a mage. I can't activate a teleport.
Oh, you'd be surprised. Nonetheless, it's good to see you safe.
Yeah, so at least now we know, and we can start making a plan, I guess.
Okay, what's the plan?
How much oil can you generate in that alchemy jar?
Oh, quite a bit. I see. It's a quart, really. I mean, everything's different depending on what it is, but a quart of oil, which is a fair amount.
So it's a reasonable amount. It could have its uses, definitely.
I believe that's a quarter of a gallon, right?
Yes. So if anyone knows what that is in metric, please type it in the chat, because I got no clue.
So how much would... Okay,
What a
I've
woodchuck,
got-
chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood.
oh, here we go.
Point. It's nearly a litre.
Okay, so you're looking
Okay,
about a litre of oil.
the flasks that you get from holy water, how much liquid would they hold?
I would say probably only if we're looking at milliliters. If you got basically around about a litre of oil, you're probably looking at about 200 mils max in a flask of holy water or even holy oil.
Okay, so because I've actually got, it's not on my character sheet, it was on my previous one. I've got 3 empty flasks.
Ah, yes, you do.
So I'm thinking of getting the oil, filling the flasks with the oil and reattaching the stopper.
Yeah.
Getting Het to bless them so they become holy oil, so that we can use it and throw it and potentially set them on fire if we need to.
I also have holy oil in my. I've got 3 vials.
Yes, you do.
I've
Definitely we could do that.
And with hits and my ability to cast prestidigitation, I got it close. Yeah, that'll be cool.
Prestidigitation. Yeah, the thing is,
Yeah.
it has to be an already a fire source to ignite it. You can't just ignite oil. You can't create fire from nothing. It has to be either a torch, a candle, or an existing campfire.
I have a tinderbox.
But yeah, I mean, it's easy.
can
It's easy
do
enough.
her druid magic and light it.
Druidcraft won't do it either. It has to be create flame. There is a spell that does create fire, but if you got a tinderbox, it's easy enough to do.
I can do
Everybody
it with
should
my
have a
blood
tinderbox.
magic.
And you can do it with your blood magic. Exactly. You've got the ability to
So,
make
yeah.
fire, guys. Come on.
Yeah, so
Funny that, because it's not like we haven't had campfires the whole time.
Exactly.
true. So I'm gonna suggest that to Het, and if anyone else has like empty flasks from health pots or something like that, fill them up, because they could be a throwing weapon. They could actually really help us, because if we're hearing ghouls, got no idea how many there are. Now, they don't normally have a lot of hit points, but a lot of enemies can become very overwhelming quickly.
So, with that, do you produce a quart of oil in the alchemy jug?
Easily can make the quart of oil. Its biggest problem is he doesn't actually know if he can create holy water legitly through 5e yet. He's just checking.
Do you have bless?
You have the bless spell, yeah?
Correct.
I would allow it. I mean, from a flavor perspective, because I think this is actually a really cool idea. I wouldn't even go as far as bless. I would say, as a cleric, you have the ability to bless water and oil to make it holy and able to do radiant damage. And I would say that would be an inherent cleric ability, as because essentially you're a priest. You're a priest of your deity. So I would say maybe. Yeah, you'd say you'd have to call on your deity to give you the ability to bless you'd essentially just give it a verbal blessing, just like they would with holy water.
No problem. Can do. Het gets the alchemy jug, and he creates it's oil we want, right?
Yeah, oil.
Okay.
Preferably an oil that is flammable.
Yes. So I'm pretty sure
Canola
the oil in there is lantern oil, or is it?
It is just oil. It's flammable oil. We used it to light everything on fire last time anyway.
We allowed that last time, so I think we'll definitely carry on with it.
Okay, so I open up the jug and I say, oil. And I put the lid back in and give it a shake, and what do you know, there's a quart of oil in there.
So make your blessing to turn it into holy oil.
Het sits down, places the oil in front of him. Holding the lute outstretched, he says, Steel Lady, Maggie of the Thatch, take this oil under your good graces. and make it holy with the power to defeat the young. And he traces some sigils in the air and utters some words, and it be done.
And with that, hit you get that usual warm sensation come across you. It's not like someone giving you a hug, and it's more mental than physical. You get that sensation that the Steel Lady is indeed with you. And what you guys see is you see just for a moment a slight golden radiant shimmer just on the surface of the oil jug, and then a quick flash, no sound, just a quick flash of light, and hit you. Then open your eyes and you know that the spell, the plea for the blessing has been completed, and you now have a quart of holy oil.
Here we go, team. Here's a quart of holy oil. Do you want me to pour it into some of these vials that you have?
It would. Okay, the flasks are a pint flask, which would mean that would only fill 2. So 2 pints makes a quart.
Okay, so is that we have 2 pints? Or do we leave it as the quart for now?
No, we'll have. I'll fill 2 of the 3 empty ones that I've got. I've got them marked down as holy oil.
Excellent.
How often can we do the oil?
I think it's once per day, isn't it?
Yeah, so I can only change the liquid once per day.
And it takes a day to recuperate?
Yeah, full 24 hours.
Yes, it does, yep.
Alright, so we've got 2, and tomorrow about this time we'll make more if we've got.
That's a good idea. I shall do that. Let me know in 24 hours. I'll just check my compass when 24 hours is up.
Okay.
So you do all your dealings, and so how many vials did you have? You had 3, didn't you?
I had 3 and I filled 2.
Filled 2. So how much oil does that leave you left over in the jug?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Yeah, well, I'm going off what D&D Beyond's got. A flask is a pint, 2 pints makes a quart.
Okay, so that's fair. So you now have 2 vials of holy oil, or 2 pints of holy oil.
DM, the jug revives at the next dawn as well.
Dawn? Okay, so it's not 24 hours. So that's cool. So so the next morning you could make another quart, if you so wished.
That is handy.
Cool.
We can make holy stuff, Ed. We have the power.
Sadiq, I believe between me and you, we have great power. To kill the undead and stuff, I mean. Don't take that the wrong way.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
So, you got, what else you got to do before you? Oh, you're mid evening now, heading into dinner time again. So you've created your first lot of oil. Anything else you want to do before sitting down for another evening meal?
Yep, I guess so. Which will probably finish up all of our nuts and whatnot, and probably the veal meat too, honey.
Yeah, I would say so. So all your nuts and apples and that you had from the previous day, you finish those off. Any of the venison that is left as well is consumed. And you sit down for an evening meal, laying and probably discussing what you're potentially going to do the next morning when you will carry on and make your advance on the Bastion. And there we'll take a 5-minute potty break, guys. So those who need to go to the toilet, now's the time. make a coffee, get a drink, do whatever. I'm just going to run a quick ad break. So we will be right back in 5 minutes. And I'm back. So, the wood jokes, yeah. The innuendos are getting are strong again this evening. Definitely. Which is great. It seems to have an on-flow effect from previous episode, Mina. And thanks again, everyone. Welcome, Mina13. She is a mod for Magic the Gamer over on Mixer, long-time supporter of my stream over there as well as here, and a big D&D fan. Magic normally hangs around and lurks as well when he can, but I now believe Mina, I think you are all caught up on the YouTube stuff, so she's now dropped in to hang out with us live, which is awesome. So you'll be able to catch the show live and with the rest of us. I said yes, please.
I am back.
That's
yes,
right.
Me too.
But yeah, so like I said, guys, we're running 5th edition rules for Dungeons and Dragons. We're a fully homebrew campaign. All the world has been created by myself, and the players have created their own backgrounds, and we've sort of worked together and to bring this whole story to you guys, which is awesome because I love D&D. Hit, aka Baz, my brother, also DMs another campaign which we played last night, which we'll be playing again next week, which is awesome.
That's right. keep dropping those teleport
I know.
hints, 'cause that's what they did to me last night.
So long-time D&D player. Both Baz and myself have been playing D&D and variations thereof for a lot of years, for 20 plus years. So a lot of fun. We really enjoy it. It was close. Your guess was very close, Mina. Very close indeed. So like I said, the players, we've got Alessandros, Fiala and Sadiq, which are all from Australia. They have joined us for this show, which is very much appreciated. Obviously, Het and Nadia, my partner, most of you know who Nadia is, joining for this as well. We started, for those that have watched the YouTube videos, you've seen our transition from when we first started the show. Things have changed. We've improved on the overlays and things like that. And we're going to continue to improve as the campaign goes on. When this campaign does come to a conclusion, which we have no idea when that's going to be at this stage, there is every intention to do another. Whether it's a D&D 5e campaign, there is potential for a Vampire the Masquerade campaign. We have now have available the source material for that, and Baz and I did have a bit of a discussion about that, and Baz is potentially keen to storytell that for us if we decide to do a Vampire the Masquerade. So that'll be cool.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, because I'm really keen to, if we do that, I'm really keen to play. And Baz has sort of said he's not really interested in playing, but he's quite keen to storytell. So that'll be...
Question: what's the upload limit for Discord?
8 meg, I think it's small. So if any PDFs that need to be sent will probably have to be emailed.
Het, check your messages.
Okay.
It's 8 meg for video. I'm not sure for PDF for files. I think it might be 8 meg for files too, though, Drax. I think it's 8 meg across the board if it's not Nitro.
We can always.
You got Dropbox, you got Google Drive.
Yeah, no, we can download it, split it up into the file size, zip it into the file size and upload it to Discord that way.
It's just easier just to email it.
Yeah, or put it in a Dropbox and people just grab it straight from there.
I mean, the Dropbox is easy enough to do. I think you get some free storage.
Chat on Facebook. Sorry.
Well, I mean, there's other options. You got Google Drive and all sorts of stuff. OneDrive.
It's insane the amount of ways that we could actually send it to each other anyway. So
So we've got options, so we're not too worried about it at this stage. Obviously,
we're
only about
halfway through. I think it's actually a link.
Is it a link? The PDF.
It's a link that you use, and you type in a code that lets you into the website.
Okay, then you can download. Then you'll be able to. Yeah, you should. Once you've got the code for the PDF, you should be able to download the PDF, though. I would imagine.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I'll probably download it and see how big it is. Couldn't imagine, like, it's a decent sized book, but I wouldn't imagine it's
I can tell you roughly how big a sourcebook PDF is because I've got all the D&D stuff here. So, 1 second. Sourcebooks. So we look at the basic rules PDF is only 11.2 KB, so it's like 11 meg. It's not very big at all.
Yeah, I think
so. You might be able to do that through. I'll find out in a second. Give me one. I think I linked
some
PDFs.
Emails don't like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I gave PDFs to you guys through. Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll do a quick here. Seemed to think I had to email it because it wouldn't. It was too big. So I think 8 meg's the size across the board. That's 11. Yeah, 8 meg is the max file size for Discord. So, like I said, we can email or use Dropbox or anything like that.
I'll probably just set up the Dropbox and grab it from there. Stuff it.
First bid, Drax. No worries. We've got less than an hour to go, Drax. So you should be pretty good.
We'll see him in 10 minutes. He'll be back.
We'll be cutting off 10:30. 10:30 is our cutoff. So we've got about 40 minutes. About 40 minutes to go max anyway. So, well, without further ado, we should get back into it.
Oh,
So, we will put the music back on.
we had some music playing.
We did. Just
Like
background.
Dinner
Good.
music.
It's just background music.
Hey, Drax, I'll be there about 10 minutes, man. I don't even know
Wow.
where you live.
Right. Characters. Game face. You are now. You've had another. We're not going to go through another night full of watches and stuff. I made a couple of rolls during the break, and your evening went without incident. Unless there was something specific you guys wanted to do throughout the evening, we will move forward.
I think we've pretty much done all we can do.
So we will move forward to the next morning. You guys awaken. Inari, your point of exhaustion has subsided. You are now back to
Yes.
full capacity. You wake in the morning, well rested, rejuvenated from the day that you and your now newfound comrades allowed for your recuperation. You wake in the morning. You have breakfast, coffee, all the usual morning stuff. You break camp. You repack your horses. You're going to leave your horses where they are in this little alcove type area, which is pretty much where you scouted for them anyway. So you leave them tied where they are, repack your tents on the horses, and you start making that trek towards the Bastion. It's probably, I'd say you probably rose relatively early, knowing you would have the whole day with potential ally in the sun, which is out, but there is not a thick cover of cloud, but there is definitely cloud cover, which it's not a bright day, but the sun is definitely out. So you pretty much take the same route that Sadiq and Alessandros took the previous day. They take you the same way. Again, once you get to within sort of 200-300 feet of the Bastion, you wanting to re-stealth to head to your vantage point once more? Or are we just going to rock on in?
Rock on in.
Just going to rock on in, main gate.
Let's rock in.
Okay, so you guys reach the part of the... Oh, here we go. As you guys approach, again, you get to that broken wall, and you climb through the broken wall as you did the first time. And as you sort of approach the area where the tent is, it takes you about 20 minutes sort of get there from the wall. And the thin wisp of smoke that you'd seen the previous day still rising from the fire. It's lit, but it's not brightly lit. There's a couple of sticks propped up either side of it, and another looks like a steel pole across these two forked sticks, and there's a pot with a lid on it hanging over the fireplace. What?
I am going to cast Pass Without Trace.
Well, no one's stealthing, so there's no point.
Oh, okay. Well, I won't cast it.
I don't want you to lose a spell slot. I mean, Pass Without a Trace is aids stealth checks, and no one's stealthing, so... Unless you guys want to stealth. I mean, that's an option you do have, but you all agreed to rock on in.
True.
So, as you approach, so you get to the sort of front of the path, and it sort of breaks out into a big, almost like a circled area. Again, the ground is more greyish, darkish brown than the light browns you see in the picture. But this is reference. You see the two large statues, both brandishing heavy crossbows, armored individuals. No facial features. The helmets are sort of down over the face. You can't really see facial features, but they're flanking this drawbridge, which is still down. And you see all the petrified trees. Now that you're a little bit closer, you do see a few skeletons sort of scattered about the place. Long dead, withered, and almost a couple of them look almost petrified themselves. They've been here such a long time.
How tall are the statues, DM?
They're probably about 15 to 20 feet tall. They're big statues.
Are we, so in the grand scheme of things, are we back sort of at that path just before the tent there?
Pretty much. You guys are just coming in sort of the top area of the map here. So you from where you are, you're looking over to your right, you can see that tent. And now that you've got a more of a better sort of vantage point, you can see that it's a round tent, or kind of hexagonal in shape. It's quite tall. It's probably about 15 feet high, and the flap is sort of partially closed. There's a bit of a gap there, but you can't really see anything. But now that you see it, so that you probably fit 4 or 5 people in there comfortably, like standing. As far as sleeping is concerned, maybe 3 people if they're setting up cots or something. 4 if you had just bedrolls.
Do we want to investigate the tent?
I think it's a good idea, but I think we should be careful about it. Maybe a couple of us sort of stand outside and one goes in, or at least checks in. I don't think we should all rush in there headlong.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Fighters stay outside, and the smaller go inside and check.
I nominate Ellie to go in and check, and everyone else stays outside.
Head agrees, Ellie, you're the quietest and probably the sneakiest.
All right.
So how are you going to approach the tent, Alessandros? Are you going to just waltz on up to the tent, or are you going to try and stealth it?
No, I'm going to try and stealth it. Hell.
So, Anari, now if you wish to cast Pass Without Trace, this would be the time.
I will be doing that right now.
Make sure you read the spell. Alessandros would have to be remain within 30 feet of you for the spell to maintain its effect.
I will walk to within 30. I'll go within 30 feet of the tent.
So that, you'd have to sort of go, from where you are, you'd probably have to go sort of 15, 20 feet forward from where you are, and that would have the tent within range.
So
you do
gives
that?
Yeah, I give you a 10 plus bonus to your stealth check.
It's a plus 10 to your stealth check.
Is that to everyone within 30 feet of her?
Everyone within 30 feet gets a plus 10 to a stealth check.
I just rolled my stealth. I got a 24.
So that'll be a 34 on your stealth check. So as far as you know, you're pretty well hidden. And guys,
He's going to stealth up, so he's 15 feet behind Ellie as well.
So roll stealth. Anybody who wants to take advantage of the stealth check with the Pass Without Trace, do so. Guys, you look around and Alessandros is gone. You got no clue where she is. She's just vanished.
Head gets 25.
Is that with the plus 10?
That is.
So, as far as you know, you're pretty stealthy as well.
Same for me.
Same for
I will
you.
go to. Okay, I got 32.
Holy crap! And Ari,
Love Pass Without Trace.
sorry,
I rolled that one.
that's still
No!
it's still an 11 though, but it is a critical fail on your part. But with the rest of the group,
Still 17.
yeah, well, yeah, still that's even with a critical fail. I mean, like I say, the rest of the group rolled stupid high, so law of averages, you think you're pretty safe. So with that, Alessandros, you make your way to the towards the tent. And so what do you do? You're going to try and peer in, or you want to listen, or how are you approaching the tent?
I'm going to listen first, see if I hear anything.
So roll a perception check just to see what you can hear.
$18.
18. Pretty good. You hear from within the tent it's a chant of some description. It's quiet, almost whispered. Definitely sounds like more than one person, but you just hear this quiet chant as you sort of listening on the outside of the tent there.
I'm assuming the rest of the group's looking at me.
Well, they
They
with
can't
your
see
stealth
you.
check, they have no clue where you are. You
true.
were so well hidden that they don't notice you at all.
And whereabouts are they in relation to me?
So you're pretty much right at the back of the tent. You'd be right at the back of the tent, sort of here, listening. The rest of them are sort of in. I'd say most of them have moved up within sort of 15, 20 feet of the tent. So you can see them. They haven't noticed where you are at this point because of that check. I mean, that check was stupid high.
Right, use me windbane daggers to cut a line down the tent so I can actually see in.
Okay, so
The reason for the windbane daggers is because of the hang on, what is it?
yeah, I'm just it would make a sound to cut. That's also just give me a second.
Yeah, just for the finesse, just less sound than
Yeah.
normal.
That's all right. I've just got to make a couple of checks. Yeah. So you take your dagger and you quietly pierce the fabric of the tent, and you make a small incision, big enough to sort of open with one hand to get a little eye hole, a little peephole. Just try and sort of peek in and see what you can see. Roll another perception check for me to see exactly what you can see. And one thing you have noticed is the chanting suddenly stopped when the moment your dagger hit that.
I got a 15, so and the fact that I heard that stop, I'm backing away.
So you back away.
Yeah.
So you back away from the tent. How far?
Just about 10 foot.
About 10 feet. And the rest of you guys, you notice a woman appear from the front of the tent. She sort of just pops her head out, starts looking around.
Hit would be 15 feet from the front because when he started to follow Allie, he thought Allie was headed to the front.
Okay, she sort of looks around and she sort of peers almost in your direction. I mean, you're not like completely in front of the tent, but you're heading towards the front of it. She sort of just quickly glances. She doesn't notice you at first. She looks back round to the fire and then again sort of looks back towards the road. And
what does she look like? What is she wearing?
She is a youngish woman. She's got long, dark hair, which is sort of braided back on both sides and pulled into a ponytail at the back. She's wearing just common clothing, a long dress, got an apron on. Her hair's a little bit tattered, like she's it's not really well kept. She looks to be maybe mid to late 30s. A little bit of dirt and smudge on the face, and as she sort of turns back to the left again, looking back toward the road, she sort of peers out a little bit further and catches your eye hit and looks directly at you, and she sort of stops and just stares at you, sort of mouth sort of half open, as if maybe she might scream, or she looks a little bit surprised to see someone standing sort of right there.
Hello there. I am Hit of the Steel Lady, and Hit bows before her. Says, nice to greet you. Just passing through. What is your name?
what are you doing here? And she's sort of looking around, and then she sort of, as she's looking around now, she notices the rest of you. She hasn't seen you yet, Alessandros. You're not within eye line, so you're still stealthed as far as you know. But the rest of you, she's looked, sort of seen all of you now, and sort of, because you're still basically all standing out in the open. And she's sort of looking around, and what you can see, the look on her face is, it's a bit of shock, a little bit of sort of concern. She seems a little timid.
The veil of shadows and silence should mask them from detection.
What veil of shadows?
Veil of shadows and silence radiates from you, masking you and your companions from detection for the duration.
Not if you're standing out in the open.
Each creature you choose within 30 feet of you, including you, has a 10+ bonus to dexterity stealth checks and can't be tracked except by magical means. Creature that receives
She
this
sees
bonus
you.
leaves behind no track. Okay.
She sees you. Okay. Believe me, she sees you. But that's good to know. I mean, I did know that, but yeah, she sees you. She sees you all, except for Trash.
So, Hit pulls his Steel Lady book from his bag, and he says, "So we've just, me and my compadres here, wandering the land and teaching the world of the great wonders of Maggie of the Thatch, the Steel Lady. You might have heard of her."
She sort of looks at you, Hit, and she's still not completely out of the tent. She's sort of still half in, sort of half out, and you see she's wringing her hands, and she sort of looks at you and goes, No one travels out here. What? Who are you here to see?
Well, not here to see anyone. We are traveling. Travelers travel through. We follow the road. The road leads here.
Make a
Have you been
deception check
traveling
for
too,
me.
eh?
Make a deception check.
Oh dear, 8.
As you sort of start, you're starting to ramble a little bit, and you notice that she starts to back up a little bit, back into the tent, and then she just disappears inside the tent, and the tent flaps close, and she's gone.
Okay, thanks for your help. Come again. Well, that's a hash, guys. I don't know what that lady is. She wasn't interested in.
So, with that, what is everyone else doing at this point?
Any ideas, guys?
I'm going to say, Ellie. Where are you, Ellie?
And step out from behind the tent.
Signal him over to, then, like, Ellie, what did you see or hear, or, what do you...
I heard chanting. Couldn't make it out, but there was definitely chanting.
Roughly how many people do you know?
At least a couple. Basically, as soon as the chanting stopped, I didn't look.
Yeah, I'm thinking this is a bit suspicious, because she's sitting there saying, like, what are we doing here? People don't travel here. But she's here. I'm thinking we go preferably, metaphorically kick the door in.
Just a question. What's your amulet doing?
Good question. What is my amulet doing? Because they'll be within 30 feet.
You're definitely within 30 feet of the tent. The amulet's not doing anything at this point.
There you go. They're not undead or evil. or fiendish. So
who's the
Which is-
nicest one out of us? Who's got a friendly face?
Can we roll a perception check, everybody, please?
Only I have the friendliest face, I'm sure.
I'm almost tempted to say let's keep going because they won't be able to track us.
I got a 19.
19 for you, Alessandra. Fiala, yours.
16.
Hit.
14.
And Nari
16.
and Sadiq.
17. Sorry.
So you all see this. Back to our little map here. So you guys are all standing up the top end of the map here between the sort of road, where the road would come in and the tent. Down here amongst the petrified trees, you all notice it. A bit of a mist seems to be forming. Definitely unnatural. It's moving against the breath of the slight breeze that's in the air. You also notice to the left of the right statue on this side, another mist starting to form next to the trees. Again, moving against the slight breeze that is blowing away from blowing from behind you guys. So it looks like it's almost moving. Both these sort of mists that are just starting to form, no real shape at this stage, but they're definitely moving towards you, not away from you like mist should.
I'm gonna throw my dagger at the mist.
You can if you want. It's up to you. So, which one would you like to target? Which piece of mist would you like to target?
The one that's closest to where I am.
So,
pretty
from
much.
you, we're looking at... What's your short range on your dagger?
20 feet.
You would know that one is out of range. You would have to close the distance.
Oh no, I can throw up to 60 feet away. It's just that I've got to take a penalty if I throw.
Yeah, so it'd be a
past 20.
disadvantage. So, if it's out of that 20-foot range. So, if you wanted to throw your dagger, it would be a disadvantage.
Alright, so throwing it with disadvantage. It is math hard. Plus 7, so minus 2, so plus 5, so 16.
16. Your dagger, you watch it, you throw it pretty hard, and you see it pass through the mist, and it just hits the dirt just beyond the mist, and then vanishes and reappears back to you.
Does the mist do anything?
It sort of dissipates almost right before the dagger hit it. You sort of almost separate, and then start to sort of reconstitute, and you can see it as it's moving slowly towards you. It's starting to form more of a shape, but both of them are doing much the same thing. They're not fully corporeal yet, by any means. They're still very much see-through, but they're really starting to change the shape a little bit more. And with that dagger throw, I'll get everyone to roll initiative. So
17.
17 for Alessandros. Hit.
There's 8 for hit.
8 for hit. Fiela.
19.
19. Inari.
19.
19. And Sadiq.
17.
17. And we will switch over to our battle map. Got to place you guys on the map here. So, we had Alessandros, yep, out from behind the tent there. It would have been about there. I'm assuming Fiala, everybody around about the same. About that sort of forward. You guys, camera up there a little bit. So, at the top of the round, we have Fiala. You watch as the two mists move forward another 10 or so feet, putting that one there roughly within sort of 5, 10, just on the outskirts of that 30-foot radius hit, and your amulet starts to glow, very faintly at first, with which colours for undead? I can't remember. I got it written down here.
Blue.
The blue. Yes, it is. So it starts. It's a very faint blue, but it's starting to glow that blue color very faintly. So it's right on the very edge of the threshold. So Fiala, you're up first in the initiative order.
I'd like to cast Entangle at the one directly ahead of us.
Entangle. Roll your. Is there what sort of save is that?
Strength.
Strength save. Rolled a 14.
Ooh, it's a 14.
So it does save as the vines sort of grow from under the earth. And the vibrant green of the vine stands out against this greyish dead background, and they snake up around this entity and just don't find any kind of purchase and almost fall through the entity as the spell doesn't really take effect.
And I'm going to move about 5, 10, 15 feet, kind of up front, I guess.
1 second. Right, so 15 feet straight forward.
Yeah.
Go. So how clearly? Oh, you can see that. Cool. So hit. That's you. Got Inari back there. Obviously Fiala now in the front. Sadiq at the back, and Alessandra's there. So is that your turn, Fiala?
That's my turn.
And Nari, you're up next, and Alessandra, you're up after that.
Right, I am going to move to the stump.
Over to the stump over there.
Yep.
5,
Is that 40 feet?
15, 33. Yes, you'll get 40 feet. Get you right across there. Indeed.
And then I'm going to aim
Speak up
at...
a bit, please.
And then I'm going to aim at this mist by the fire.
Yep, go for it.
And I'm going to go for 3 hits on her. First one, I am going to take... Hang on, I have to find it.
Your first 2 strikes will do just normal damage. It's your third strike will do the extra d8.
Yeah, I'm going to use my sharpshooter though.
So you'll take a -5 to your hit, but it'll give you a +10 to the damage.
So that is 17 to hit.
That does hit. So roll your damage +10.
15 for the first.
15 damage for the first.
$22 to hit the second.
Is that with your -5?
Yep.
Holy crap. That's right, you got a +9, don't you? Jeebus Christ.
12 damage.
Hang on. What did you roll? 22?
Yep.
Yep. So how much damage?
12 for the second.
12 for the second. It was 15 for the first, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yep. So the arrows, they're passing through, but it seems to disperse every time you hit it with an arrow, and then it sort of reforms. It doesn't really seem to be taking as much damage as you'd hoped. But it's definitely it's taking some damage. And your third attack, which will be the extra D8 as well.
17 to hit.
That does hit. Are you using sharpshooter on all 3 attacks?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank God.
So D6,
so
a D8, and then plus 10.
12.
Wow. So you got 2 ones.
Yep.
Wow. So as you guys watch, Inari very quickly, a lot faster than you've seen him move before, darts across behind the tent, full 40 feet of movement, and then very quickly, one after the other, just aims and fires the bow, quick succession. The short bow lands 3 direct hits into this strange mist, which seems to be still solidifying into a form, and does some reasonable damage. Not quite as much as probably should have, but it definitely took some damage. And with that, Alessandros, you're next. Sadiq, you're after that.
So I move towards the stump as well, the other side of it.
The other side of it, no problem.
And I attack with my bow and arrow.
Bow and arrow, no worries. Roll to hit.
$24.
That hits. Your damage.
8.
8 points of damage. Is your bow magical by any chance?
Negative.
Don't think it is it? So you fire your arrow, and it hits true, but again, it just doesn't look like it does as much damage as it should. It definitely finds its target. Your aim's pretty good. Is that all you can do? Actually, with a bow, you got no bonus action, second attack. So bonus action, up to you what you want to do.
I'll stay where I am.
So yeah, Sadiq, you're up. Yep, Sadiq.
Activating Rite of Dawn.
No problem.
On the dagger.
On the dagger?
And throwing on the dagger and throwing the dagger at the mist that I threw it at last.
Okay, so Sadiq draws the dagger from his sheath, draws it across his palm, taking a little bit of damage himself to invoke the Rite of Dawn, and hurls it directly at this entity. Roll to hit.
22 to hit.
That definitely hits.
Takes 16 points of damage.
16 points of damage. As you fire the dagger and it hits this entity, that burst of radiant energy as the dagger strikes the front and passes through, and then as the dagger hits the statue behind the creature, disappears and reappears back in your hand. The creature just and blinks out and is gone.
Huh. How far is the other one from me?
The other one is, we got there 15, 30, probably about 55, almost 60 feet away. So your amulet ceases to glow, but you obviously know what this creature is now, and it's more corporeal now. It's taking on more of a human style shape, but it is definitely at least 60 feet away, probably just outside of 60 feet.
If it's at 60 feet, I'm going to throw my dagger at it because I can still hit it from that distance.
You can't really tell from this distance exactly how far it is. It looks about 60 feet from. You'd have to make that judgment call.
Well, I'm going to throw it and see if it If it makes it, it makes it. If it doesn't, it
So
doesn't.
at the 60 feet, it's a disadvantage anyway. So make your attack.
That would be 17 to hit.
That hits. Roll your
Uh,
damage.
13 damage.
13 damage. So, the dagger strikes true. You weren't entirely sure that it was within range. It looks like it was just on the cusp of that range, and it manages to find its target. And the creature sort of, you hear it, almost that whispery sort of as it hits it, and it dissipates, then sort of slowly reforms as your dagger returns. And with that, it is now that creature's turn. Can I get everyone, please, to make a Constitution saving throw, as from within the tent you hear this piercing howling sound. It sounds like it's emanating from everywhere, but it's just so loud, and it's a horrible sound. So everyone, can we get everyone a con save, please?
Advantage for me.
So Alessandros, what was yours?
13.
13, and that is a fail. So you will take 16 points of psychic damage, and you are now deaf as well. One second, I've got to grab some markers here. So hit your save.
Hit gets 15.
You also fail. Oh, he's behind the tree. So hit, you also fail. You'll also take 16 points of psychic damage and are deafened. Inari.
16.
16. You sort of bring your hands up to your ears, and you hear that sound, and it starts to hurt, and you manage to shake off the effects. You only take 8 points of psychic damage, but you are not deafened. And now Fiela.
17.
17. You also only take 8 points of psychic damage, and are not deafened. It hurt a lot, but you managed to shake off the effects of the deafness. And Sadiq.
23.
You definitely only take the 8 points of psychic damage, and are not deafened also. The effect will last for a little while, but so we've got Alessandros and Hit, who are deafened by that shrieking howl that seemed to come from everywhere, and as this creature steps forth out of the tent, Sadiq, your amulet, as she steps out of the tent, lights up in a brilliant, radiant color as this creature steps forth. Actually, no, it doesn't. It's green, I believe. Yes.
Evil, fiendish, undead.
It is. It's a green, that sort of green hue. So with that, that is pretty much all she's going to do. That one is dead. That one's turn. The mist that appeared. Full movement speed, sir. Doesn't seem to be walking at all. It's sort of hovering about 2 feet off the ground. Moves directly towards you, Hit. Gets within that sort of range. And it appears to take some form of damage as it steps forward towards you. not a huge amount, but you can see it sort of its form shrinks a bit, and it seems like it sort of does something, and it sort of reforms again. Next we have this creature. Another woman appears from the tent and comes straight out and at you with such speed, Fiela. You're not even sure how she got there so quickly. And makes an attack against you with a 15 to hit.
That does not hit.
That does not hit. She reaches out and tries to grab you. And as she does so, long claws sort of head out toward, sort of grabbing out towards your shoulder, but she just misjudged how quick you are, and you lean back slightly, and she's unable to sort of grab you. But she is old, she's short, she's almost a greyish sort of tinge to her skin, long grey hair, long spindly fingers with long sharp fingernails. Very hideous looking. She is not a pretty sight at all. And that is her turn. Hit, you are next.
Hit sees this extra old lady attacking Fiela. He takes 5-foot step to the right of the camera view, and he will change his plans a little bit. He pulls forth the symbol of the steel lady on top of his loot, holds it towards the old woman, and he says, "Hell is from here to eternity." And he drops Sacred Flame. She must make a dex save.
That's on the one in front of Fiela?
Correct.
So a dex save. I believe that's a failure with a 9.
Correct. She takes... God damn it. She takes 4 radiant damage.
4 points down. As the Sacred Flame is released, the column of radiant light erupts from beneath the hag and streaks upwards, engulfing her in radiant flame. And she cries out in agony and sort of turns and looks at you, Het, and just points a finger at you and snarls. Doesn't even say anything. It's just that sort of... Is that your turn?
Het will then move 20 feet back to the edge of the map behind the large figure with the axe.
That's me. Het.
No problem. Het has moved to the back of the map. There, you were still deafened. You cannot hear anything right now. Your ears are ringing.
As he moves, he cries out, "Ah, my ears are ringing! But everyone, focus on the one in front of Fiela!"
And Het does so, not knowing his own volume. He's yelling at the top of his lungs. So I think everyone within 100 feet probably heard what he just said. And with that, we are back to the top of the round. And because we are so close to finishing time, we're going to call it there and conclude this combat next week, guys. We're pretty much bang on 10:30. So sorry to say that we're not going to resolve this combat tonight. But we'll pick it up with Fiela at the top of the round for next week. We'll just come back to main screen here, guys. Thank you very much. Players, again, awesome night. We are going to do a little bit XP for RP, for the RP leading up to this point anyway. And we'll do the combat XP next week when we resolve it. So tonight we will say 500 XP each. Typical D&D cliffhanger, I know, but I'd love to go for another hour, but we've got people that got to go to work tomorrow and things like that, so we can't really carry on too much further.
Night, everybody.
So we are going to call it there. Thank you so much, everyone, hanging out with us again tonight. Appreciate it. Mina, thank you so much for the sub and for hanging out with us Really good to see you in the chat. Everyone else that hung out with us tonight, thank you so much for hanging out. We appreciate the support. Again, if you haven't followed, please follow. Check out the YouTube channel, the VOD from this week. I will get up on Tuesday. I promise. I was late last week. But Tuesday afternoon, I will upload the VOD from this week's show. So if you did happen to miss portions of it, it'll be available on my YouTube as of Tuesday. !YT in the chat will give you the link. Make sure you subscribe. We're 13 subscribers away from getting our custom URL. So if you haven't subscribed already, please do. Thank you to the subs for your continued support. Like I said, guys, when we reach 25 subs, if we can reach and hold 25 subs consecutively for over a month, I'm going to do another merch giveaway. And same again at 35, 50, and 100 subs. So let's try and see if we can get to that goal sometime in the near future. But we will call it there. We are going to look at rating, of course. We did say he's not on anymore.
I don't think you even got on.
We will have a look to see who's on anyway. We'll definitely pass on our viewers to someone else. Let's have a look at the Dungeons and Dragons section. Let's see if anyone else playing D&D with relatively low viewers. Look at that, we were in the top row tonight, guys. That's awesome. We got the rerun there, 0, 10, 10, 10. Got one there with 7 viewers. 5E. He didn't get to choke anyone, I know. Let's try. We got this one with 2 viewers. Australian guys. We'll check these fellas out. Give me 1 second. Sorry, that was loud.
Okay, let's go. You shuffle out.
Typical Australian, it's really loud.
Now, I think,
so they're doing dragon heist.
Normal humanoids. If it's human, elf, goblin, maybe we don't take their heads, but you know.
Yeah, we'll raid these guys.
Like,
so we got the Pungeon Master. What a name.
For one thing, that went very successful. I don't think she's
1 second, let's copy that.
very well done.
Magic, what's up?
Yeah,
what do you mean?
You had it done.
The Pungeon Master. Yeah, I know there's these flogs over in Australia that are really loud, eh? But guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us again tonight. Appreciate it. Love your faces. We will see you guys next week for some more D&D. I'll be back tomorrow with some gaming. I'm not sure what I'm going to be playing yet. We're going to definitely do some Skyrim this week. More Call of Duty, some Ring of Elysium for the Pinnacle challenges, and for the free season pass. Probably going to do some World of Warcraft this week. Funnily enough, I put some game time on and been watching some World of Warcraft Classic. So until then, cheers guys.
I need to stand corrected about the Baldur's Gate.
Oh, yes.
That you could pause.
Yes, you
It
can
wasn't
pause.
turn-based. You have to
agree with Grunthor, yeah.
Yes, you are quite correct. I remembered that. Where's my thanks?
We did have killed